Educate for a creative society. I'm not sure I can do this, because every time I talk about education, I just want to stand in front of you and weep, because it's so pathetic what we do. We live in a world that begs for creativity, and what do? When the 9-year-old boy gets out of his seat inappropriately in the 4th grade, we send him to the school nurse and say, dose the lad with Ritalin from now until death. Jordan Ian wrote a marvelous book on creativity called Aha. He tells a story that's repeated, alas, 1 million times a day in this country while school is in session. My wife and I went to a kindergarten parent-teacher conference and were informed that our budding refrigerator artist, Christopher, would be receiving a grade of unsatisfactory in art. We were shocked. How could any child, let alone our child, receive a poor grade in art at such a young age? His teacher informed us that he had refused to color within the lines, which was a state requirement for demonstrating grade-level motor skills. Is that the definition of tragedy or not? Because see, here's the point. The Nomura Research Institute did a study a while back that said, of course, first, as we all know, we had the age of agriculture, now largely behind us. Then the age in the industrial age, also fading into the dust. Then the age of information intensification in which we are currently engaged. But what they also said at Nomura is we are rapidly moving into the age of creation intensification. I mean, look, our education system is sometimes called the Ford model of education. That is, we nail facts into students' heads. And there's nothing wrong with it if the goal is to employ somebody for 40 years in a Ford Motor Company Model A factory, right? Because the deal is, park your brains at the door, dude. Work your 9 hours, spend your money at the bar, have a good sleep off, and then do the same thing over again. But in a world where all economic value comes from creativity and imagination, then this doesn't work. There was a cover story in Fortune magazine a year or two ago on chief executive officers who had dyslexia. And of course, until recently, dyslexics were treated like dirt in the school system. And the guy who ran Kinko's was a dyslexic. And I loved this. When he was being just battered and bruised in school, his mother said to him, not to worry, Paul. In the long run, the A students work for the B students. The C students run the businesses. And the D students get the buildings named after them. So I'm going to give you a piece of practical advice, which of course is part of the reason you come here. Never, ever, ever for the rest of your working life, hire someone who had a grade point average of 4.0. Ever. What is the definition of 4.0? Buys the act. Has been coloring within the lines since the age of 5. Now, I don't want a 2.0 because that means you're either lazy or stupid or both. But at least give me, say, 3.5 is okay because that says at least he was screwing around a little bit. 4.0 says this person does not screw around. Tom Jefferson, Al Hamilton, and Georgie Washington, they were screwing around. This was a little dinky-doo-dippy country, and they said, let's go after this George dude. Now, that was not smart. If George and Alex and Tommy the Jeff had 4.0 grade point averages, they would not have started that revolution.